back to this 3-hour Hunter Biden sit-down, ranting, raving, swearing, airing it all out, and we watched the entire thing. I watched this entire thing so you don't have to. It's the longest interview that Hunter has ever done, and the first he's done since his father dropped out of the presidential race 1 year ago. And look, on the one hand, it's easy to say poor Hunter, but then you think about the millions of people across this country who deal with adversity every single day, and they get through it by putting one foot in front of the other and waking up every morning and doing the right thing. Hunter Biden had a father who was a 7-term U.S. senator and president. He attended the best schools in the country. He had doors opened for him that are closed to almost everyone else. But Hunter Biden today is in many ways a 55-year-old baby, a father, a grandfather, suspended in time, failure to launch, living in complete denial, still blaming everyone else for his awful lot in life, and I mean everyone. There is something off with Hunter Biden, who claims that he's been clean and sober and drug-free for the last 6 years, and we hope that's the truth. But it doesn't feel that way.
Him, and everybody around him. I don't have to be nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney is not an actor. He is a I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. You, what do you have to do with anything? Why do I have to listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times?
Hunter's clean and sober. Clean and sober. Clean and sober. Clean and sober. That's Joe Biden's son. Joe Biden was president 6 months ago. Now think about how the media treats Donald Trump's kids. Have you ever heard anything remotely close to that from Don Jr., or Eric, or Ivanka, or Barron? Have you ever heard anything from Barron? But Hunter always gets a pass because Hunter has always gotten a pass. Poor Hunter. Even today, after everything we know about the laptop, Hunter Biden still has no idea how that pesky laptop got to that repair store 10 minutes from his house in Delaware.
Number one, I literally have no memory of ever dropping my laptop off there, okay? This guy swears that I did, okay? Regardless, to your point, okay, this is Wilmington. That laptop repair shop is in Trolley Square. I had family that owned a business that was literally the opposite side of them. There are literally within a stone's throw of where that person is in a very, very small community, at least a dozen people directly related to my family. Every night he used to go to 2 or 3 different bars in which he could have literally turned and talked to anyone and said, do you know how to get in touch with Hunter?
Hunter wants the guy who runs the laptop repair shop to go asking where Hunter is at local bars in Wilmington. Think about that. Total denial. Hunter doesn't seem to understand that he likely dropped off that laptop at that laptop store when he was high on drugs because Hunter is a drug addict. And by the way, at some point, wouldn't you notice that you don't have your laptop, even if you're doing drugs? Maybe not the next day, maybe a week later, or a month later, or 2 months later. At some point, wouldn't you say, hey, where's my laptop? Dude, where's my car? Hunter also still doesn't seem to get what all the fuss was about that laptop in the first place.
There's not one communication that you can even remotely say is evidence of a crime. Not one. Not one time. Not one communication. I would challenge anybody to show one instance, other than me seeking drugs for myself, for my own personal use, okay? Or women, as it relates to, people that were in the drug trade.
Prostitution, Hunter? Sex trafficking? What? Again, total denial from a guy 5 years later who still doesn't think there's any evidence of any crimes on this laptop. Forget about the 9 federal tax charges that he pled guilty to, or the 3 felony gun charges he was convicted of last June that his father, the president, Joe Biden, just pardoned him for in January. And forget about failing to register as a foreign agent under FARA, possession of classified documents, money laundering, sex trafficking, soliciting prostitution, drug use. When you're a Democrat, that all just goes away. And the legacy media lied about the laptop for 4 years to the point where it impacted the results of the 2020 election. Hunter was also asked about his art career. And once Joe got elected, Hunter suddenly turned into a young Claude Monet, oil on canvas, one of the true masters. And people were suddenly paying thousands of dollars for Hunter's paintings.
I literally sat in the garage by virtue of my choice and my desire and painted for 3 years. And then they accused me of crimes for painting.
What do you mean?
Well, that I couldn't sell my paint, that it was a clear conspiracy to launder money and to curry influence by selling acrylic on canvas abstract painting by Hunter Biden.
Again, complete, total denial. It's almost laughable, but the media covered Hunter's art career when Joe was president like it was a real art career. Vanity Fair wrote that Hunter Biden is just painting his truth. He's painting his truth. Hunter was selling those paintings from anywhere between $75,000 and $100,000, some as high as $500,000. Think about that. That's more than most homes cost in this country. And Hunter thought that people were just buying his little paintings, his little masterpieces, because he was just that good an artist, a Rembrandt, Andy Warhol, Norman Rockwell, and that it had nothing to do with the fact that his dad just so happened to be president. Poor Hunter. He never had a fair shake, did he? Poor Hunter. Remember when Hunter made $80,000 a month working on the board of a Ukrainian energy company that Hunter still thinks he was totally qualified to get that job?
I know why I went on the board of a Ukrainian natural gas company. A lot of it had to do with money, 100%. You know, I had an organization that was willing to pay me for a service that I was 100% qualified to do. I went to Yale Law School. I served on dozens of boards before this. I was an expert in corporate governance. I have a encyclopedic knowledge of the region. I had served on a major infrastructure company's board and had done work in global aid relief throughout the entire world.
Right. But you don't remember dropping off that laptop. And Hunter, most of all, you weren't the sitting vice president's son at the time, right? And you weren't Joe Biden's son, Hunter. That had nothing to do with it, right? No? It was the same thing when Hunter was finally asked about his dad. 2.5 hours into this interview, I was still listening to this thing this morning. Hunter was finally asked about how old Joe is doing.
What the do you know about anything? Like, telling me, and by the way, what percentage do I have to say now what I say about my dad? Other than he literally is exactly who you think he is, or exactly who he appears to be, exactly who he says he is.
How's he doing now?
He's okay.
Yeah, he's doing great. Should be president, right, Hunter? Hunter spent over 2 hours lashing out at everyone and everything, but when he was finally asked about the most important topic, his dad and how his dad is doing, Hunter suddenly couldn't give an answer. Nothing about Joe Biden's brain, nothing about the cover-up, nothing honest, just complete denial. But there is a reason for that. There's a reason for all of this. It was all part of a plan. There is no way that Hunter Biden just suddenly decides to sit down for a 3-hour interview randomly after essentially saying nothing for 4 years. The Bidens are mad. Joe and especially Jill are really angry. So they sent out the smartest man they know to do their bidding for them, just like they always have.
He's a grown man. He is the smartest man I know. I mean, in sort of pure intellectual capacity.
Hunter Biden, the smartest man I know, the bag man, poor Hunter, the one person that they could trust to burn it all down, and he got it started. What you just saw was not Hunter Biden. It was Joe Biden. It was Jill Biden, finally telling everyone how they really feel about them and everything that happened to them over the last 4 years, and it's going to get worse. This is only the start, and we can't wait.